Right to try is now federal law after decades of dragging their feet. What's in the news with stories on government indoctrination centers, lemonade stand shutdown, homeschooling, another bad cop, and First Amendment arrest. This episode is brought to you by ZenCash, a cryptocurrency that infuses privacy, anonymity, and security done right. Also brought to you by NordVPN, the fastest, easiest to use service to protect your online presence that I've ever seen.
Welcome to The Lava Flow, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Find us at thelavaflow.com. Here's your host, Roger Paxton.
Thank you for joining me this week. From the home of Dudley Levitt, a polymath who wrote the first Farmer's Almanac and built the first printing press in the state, this is the show that will bring you the people, places, and events that everyone in the Liberty Rebellion needs to know. You can catch me on Twitter at the Lava Flow Pod. This is episode 93, Right to Try. And it's Friday, June 8th, 2018, when there have already been more than 524 people killed by police this year, and the United States debt clock shows us at $21,178,381 million in debt. What's wrestling my jimmies this week? You're about to find out. Let's do it to it. President Donald Trump finally signed legislation aimed at helping people with deadly diseases try experimental treatments, calling it a fundamental freedom that will offer hope and save lives. If it's such a fundamental freedom, then why has it taken so goddamn long for it to become law? Laws clearly don't have a regard for freedom. Joined by families dealing with Lou Gehrig's disease and other diseases, Trump signed the so-called Right to Try bill and said he never understood why the issue had lagged for years and Congress hadn't acted sooner. Trump said, "There were no options, but now you have hope. You really have hope." He noted that for many years, patients, advocates, and lawmakers have fought for this fundamental freedom. The bill cleared the House following an emotional debate in which Republicans said it would help thousands of people in search of hope. Many Democrats said the measure was dangerous and would give patients false hope. The measure would give people diagnosed with life-threatening conditions who have exhausted treatment options the ability to gain access to unproven drugs without first getting permission from the FDA. New drugs normally undergo years of expensive testing before manufacturers seek and gain FDA approval to market them. Opponents of the bill said it would empower fly-by-night physicians, scary, to offer false hope and ineffective drugs to patients who are desperate for treatment. The bill was supported by the Libertarian Goldwater Institute and the conservative Americans for Prosperity, which is backed by the wealthy brothers Charles and David Koch. The bill also offers some legal protections for pharmaceutical companies, doctors, or others involved in providing the treatment. Most states already have such right-to-try laws on the books, but the federal government itself has lagged behind them in giving citizens permission to try experimental medications sooner if they're dying. It seems like it would be a slam dunk to let people decide for themselves whether to take such risks when they've got nothing left to lose. But there are still legislators and experts who seem to think that this is going to result in dire consequences. The law specifically requires that the drugs have made it through the first stage of clinical testing. It seems a bit absurd to suggest that the snake oil salesmen are going to pop out of the woodwork and try to sell fake cures. It also does not mandate pharmacy companies providing them. It gives both sides of the equation options, and that's it. Look, this is a no-brainer, and it's good to finally see the government keep up with the times so much. Oh, wait, they've dragged their feet for decades on this issue as usual? Of course they have. Now, will these treatments help these people? Who the fuck knows? But the decision is still theirs, plain and simple. Have you subscribed to the Lava Flow on iTunes or any mobile device yet? Then what's wrong with you? Go to thelavaflow.com/subscribe so you don't miss a minute of the show. And while you're subscribing, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review the show to help others find our podcast. thelavaflow.com/subscribe.
It's time to shake up your podcast feed, folks, by subscribing to Lions of Liberty, the only libertarian variety show out there. Spend Mondays with me, Mark Claire, as I feature in-depth interviews with great names in the libertarian community and fun roundtable discussions.
Electric Liberty Land with me, Brian McWilliams, every Wednesday, your weekly dose of comedy, culture, and liberty.
And Felony Fridays with me, John Odermatt, where I expose injustice in the broken criminal justice system.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and at lionsofliberty.com.
What's in the news? The news you need to know from a libertarian perspective.
In government indoctrination centers, Northern Lebanon School District students in Pennsylvania must smile while walking the hallways at the institution, or they will be punished, according to a report. I was really hoping this was an Onion article when I first saw it, but apparently you can't just make this shit up. This article is from Newsweek. Students who do not smile in the hallways between periods will be instructed to, and if they refuse, they will be sent to the guidance counselor's office to talk through their problems. Meanwhile, parents claim that reports of bullying in the district are mostly ignored by those same administrators. Teachers at the institution who have not been named told the news agency that Benjamin Winger, the assistant high school principal, has been strictly enforcing this new rule, though it has not yet been put into writing within the district. Jean Gundrum, the mother of student Julianne Gundrum, has removed her 15-year-old daughter from the campus and enrolled her in the district's cyber school, a system conducted from home. She told the Lebanon Daily News that the smiling policy was the reason why she had moved Juliana. Juliana said, "If you don't smile, you get called to the office or down to see your guidance counselor. You have to talk about your problems then. You have to, or you get detention." Oh, that's really going to make them smile. According to Gundrum, her other daughter, Adriana, 14, started getting bullied after the 2017-18 year began, but nothing has been done by the school to address that issue at all. However, Eric Benzel, the school superintendent, claims that every report or indication of bullying is taken seriously and dealt with effectively. Come on, guys. Is this not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, this is some 1984 thought crime bullshit if I've ever heard of it. Fuck these bureaucrats in the neck for demanding smiles from their slaves, especially when they stick them in such horrible institutions as public schools. In busybody news, some moron in Denver, Colorado called police on an unlicensed lemonade stand being run by two boys aged 4 and 6 over Memorial Day weekend, and the cops shut the stand down. Jennifer Knowles, the mother of the two boys, said, "I wanted to teach my kids about being an entrepreneur and having your own business. My 6-year-old got his little toy cash register out that he got when he was about 2 or 3, and he was learning how to interact with customers and about customer service." And the kicker of the whole deal? All of the money that these boys were raising from the stand was going to charity. The boys were planning on donating 100% of their proceeds to Compassion International. Together, the two boys picked a child in Indonesia to help provide basic necessities for, including clean water. Knowles said they picked a little 5-year-old boy from Indonesia with two siblings, kind of like them. For a while, things were going well with their lemonade stand, which they set up in a park right across the street from their house near an outdoor art show. Knowles said they got a lot of people coming and praising the boys and telling them that they were doing a great job. That was so good for my boys to hear and for them to interact with people they've never met before in a business way. But just a half hour into their business venture, police arrived. Knowles said, "The police officers came over and they said that because my boys and I did not have permits for lemonade stand, they shut us down and we had to stop immediately. My boys were crushed. They were devastated, and I can't believe that happened. I remember as a child, I always had lemonade stands and never had to worry about being shut down by the police officers. I mean, that's unheard of." It was a scary experience for the kids and something that Knowles said shouldn't have happened. Knowles said, "My 6-year-old, he saw the police officers coming over and he ran and he hid. My 4-year-old came over and was looking at the police officer and heard what he was saying. He started to frown and then he started to cry. And it made me want to cry because they were so upset." Communications program manager with the police department, Alexandra Foster, said her department does not typically go out to enforce its permitting rules against children. However, if a call is made to police about a certain lemonade stand blocking traffic, for instance, the family could be asked to shut the lemonade stand down. She added that temporary stands typically don't need a permit, but if a stand was set up on a regular basis, that it might. And of course, the cops were just doing their fucking jobs. Fuck that noise. Fortunately, this time, no one was killed. But that's a risk you run every single time police are called into a situation. I don't care how trivial it is. Who in their right mind calls men with guns to come investigate 2 children in a lemonade stand? What jackass has such a pitiful fucking life that they have to ruin someone else's life because they disapprove of what they're doing on their own property? Fuck busybodies and cops in the neck. One cryptocurrency project that I'm most excited about right now is ZenCash, with privacy, anonymity, and security done right. You can read all about ZenCash at thelavaflow.com/zen. Now look, I've read a ton of white papers on crypto, and this is the first one I've read that mentioned voluntary and voluntarist not once but 7 times. These are our people. And they are on the right track to mix great technology, excellent marketing, and awesome uses for their product. These guys get it, and they understand what crypto is all about. Now, this is a project, guys, that I believe in 100%. So much so that I have staked some of my own Zen to run a secure node on their network. So don't miss out on checking out this awesome project at thelavaflow.com/zen. In more government indoctrination center news, the numbers of families choosing to homeschool over public and private schools is surging as parents seek a safer option for their children. And it's not just the threat of school shootings. Christopher Chin, president of Homeschool Louisiana, said parents are also increasingly concerned about the violence, the bullying, the unsafe environments. Chin said, "One of the things we've seen, definitely an uptick in the last 5 years, is this aspect of violence. It's the bullying. That's off the charts." Brian D. Ray, president of the National Home Education Research Institute in Salem, Oregon, who's conducted homeschool research for 33 years, said school safety has increasingly become an issue for parents looking at teaching their kids at home. He said the top 3 reasons that parents choose homeschooling are a desire to provide religious instruction or different values than those offered in public schools, dissatisfaction with the academic curriculum, and worries about the school environment. Ray said most parents homeschool for more than one reason, but when we ask families why do they homeschool, near the top nowadays is concern about the environment of schools, and that includes safety, pressure to get into drugs, pressure to get into sexual activity. It includes all of that. While homeschool advocates are confident that their ranks are growing, pinning down the number of U.S. at-home students is a challenge, given most states don't keep count at all. A 2017 U.S. Department of Education report estimated 1.69 million homeschool students from ages 5 to 17 in spring of 2016, using data from the National Household Education Surveys program, which mailed questionnaires to about 200,000 selected households. Those findings would indicate that homeschooling had been flat since 2012. But Mr. Ray estimated there were 2.3 million homeschool students in spring of 2016, using figures provided by the 15 states that actually track homeschoolers, as well as Maricopa County, Arizona. His figure represents a 25% increase between 2012 and 2016. During the same period, the U.S. school-age population grew by about 2%. In Louisiana, which does ask homeschoolers to report their kids, Mr. Chin said there were 30,134 homeschool students registered in January, up from an estimated 18,500 in 2011. In Texas, there are an estimated 300,000 kids being homeschooled, more kids than even attend private schools in the state. Look, whatever your reason, or no reason at all, I urge you and I implore you to pursue homeschooling for your kids if at all possible. I know it's tough. I've been there every day. But it is pivotal for the future and the liberty of our kids. In Bad Apples news, an Oregon police officer was sentenced this week to 150 days in jail and 5 years probation for having sex with an underage girl and soliciting sexual contact from the child online. The sentencing came 2 months after Daniel Curbs, 29, of Salem, admitted to sexually abusing a girl under the age of 16 and soliciting sex online from the child. Curbs, a former Woodburn officer, was arrested at work in July by Tigard detectives following a 3-week investigation. He was held at Washington County Jail on 13 child sex crimes, including 6 counts of third-degree sodomy, 6 counts of second-degree sexual abuse, and 1 count of first-degree online sexual corruption of a child. Curbs, who was acquainted with the victim's family, was accused of repeatedly abusing the girl from 2013 to 2014 in Tigard. Curbs pleaded guilty to 2 of the 13 counts. The remaining counts were dismissed. Washington County Judge Charles Bailey on Wednesday sentenced Curbs to less time than typical for the charges, supposedly dependent on Curbs' ability to enter into treatment. He's required to register as a sex offender, stay away from minors, and pay for his victims' counseling and therapy. Curbs was hired by the Woodburn Police Department in January 2015 as a patrol officer. The day before his arrest, he was placed on administrative leave and remained on unpaid leave pending an internal investigation. Now, I wonder what would happen to you or me if we had been sexually abusing a child for 2 years, repeatedly. So you think you would get 150 days in jail? Of course not. You'd get the fucking book thrown at you. But our rulers and their enforcers are special, and they get special consideration. This guy's a fucking monster, and he should be spending a lot more time in the clink with those same people that he put in there when they were hurting nobody. Are you looking for a way to protect your online presence quickly, easily, and inexpensively while still surfing the net with high speed? Well, NordVPN is the best way that I've ever found to do just that. With over 2,500 servers worldwide, they cover every continent except Antarctica. But, as they say, that's only because penguins just don't get the internet. They also offer double data encryption, which encrypts data not once, but twice. And they never log what you do and where you go on the internet. Also, NordVPN is fast, the fastest VPN service that I've ever used. They have apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, and Android, so you can protect all of your traffic from all of your devices with NordVPN. Starting as low as $3.29 per month, they're also inexpensive, and they take Bitcoin too. With NordVPN, you can securely access any website from anywhere around the world, safely share files via P2P networks, and enjoy the fastest VPN experience without compromising your online security and privacy. Get signed up for the VPN service that I personally use every time I hit the internet at thelavaflow.com/VPN. Again, that's thelavaflow.com/VPN. In New Hampshire news, a police officer arrested Robert W. Fries in Exeter, New Hampshire for the dastardly crime of insulting a police officer on the internet. Yes, I know I talk all the time about how awesome New Hampshire is, but it's not perfect yet. There's a reason we call it the Free State Project and not the Free State. Yet. Because it's not completely free. Again, yet. We need people like you to come to New Hampshire and help us make it so. But getting back to the case, the facts of the case laid out by the Seacoast Online and the criminal complaint against Fries are straightforward. On May 3rd, Fries wrote a comment on a Seacoast Online article about recently retiring police officer Dan D'Amato. He believed that D'Amato had treated him unfairly and harshly criticized his alleged misconduct. He then tore into Exeter Police Chief William Shoup, declaring that Chief Shoup covered up for this dirty cop. Although the outlet removed the comment, the police charged Fries with criminal defamation of character, a Class B misdemeanor. Their complaint alleges that he purposely communicated on a public website in writing information which he knows to be false and knows will tend to expose another person to public contempt by posting that Chief Shoup covered up for a dirty cop. Fries's arrest was quite unusual. Class B misdemeanors may result in fines but not jail time, and officers do not typically detain a suspect whose alleged crime may not be punished with a deprivation of liberty. The police released Fries on his own recognizance. His arraignment is scheduled for July 10th. Are these actions by the Exeter police actually legal? Almost certainly not. Political speech, and in particular criticism of public officials, lies at the heart of the First Amendment, and the Exeter police would have to overcome several hurdles to secure a conviction. Perhaps most obviously, the law under which Fries was charged may be unconstitutional on its face. The statute criminalizes false speech that tends to expose a living person to public hatred, contempt, or ridicule without distinguishing between expression directed at private individuals and public figures. But the First Amendment protects some false speech, particularly in the context of political debate. And the astounding breadth of this law, outlawing any fiction that brings ridicule upon a living person, raises serious constitutional concerns. Even if the statute comports with the Constitution, its application in this case remains suspect. Under New York Times v. Sullivan, the government may not penalize criticisms of public officials like a police chief unless it was made with actual malice, knowledge of its falsity, or reckless disregard to its truth. That stringent standard protects rhetorical hyperbole, which appears to be what Free is engaged in here. Now, it's not at all clear that Freese intended to express a statement of fact. Read in context, his comment seems to imply that the police chief excused the patrolman's alleged misbehavior. Freese is not necessarily accusing Shoup of a crime so much as drawing an inference from his own manifold encounters with the Exeter police. The Sullivan ruling plainly protects this guy's right to fling this disparagement at Shoup, even if it may not be true in strictly literal sense. Giles Bissonnette, legal director for the American Civil Liberties Union of New Hampshire, is looking into Freese's case and said that he's disturbed by the prosecution. He says, it appears that the police may be using the statute to suppress speech that is critical of police. This is deeply troubling. He added that while there is a public interest in preventing defamation, it is not sufficient to justify the repressive effect that criminal libel prosecutions may have on public expression. Bissonnette also said it would be prudent for the Exeter police to dismiss this charge immediately. Frankly, I concur. In some personal news, the next 2 weeks are going to be very dicey for me on releasing episodes. PorkFest production duties have really ramped up for me, and we still have lots to do and lots of meetings to attend. Jess and I are working our asses off to bring you an amazing PorkFest this year. I sure hope you guys can make it. Remember, if you use code LAVA10 when you buy your tickets, you get 10% off of your general admission or VIP tickets. I'm hoping to have an episode to release next week, depending on how things go. It may be an abbreviated episode, but I will do my very best to get one out, I promise. This episode will also be a bit abbreviated. The week of PorkFest from June 15th to the 24th, I will not be releasing any episodes at all. I apologize for that in advance, guys, but trust me, PorkFest will be worth it if you can make it. Thanks so much for your understanding on this, guys, and I can't wait to see you at PorkFest 15.
Exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode, or use Bitcoin. Get exclusive content, rewards, and help the Lava Flow become fiscally neutral while providing you more content. thelavaflow.com/support.
This is Chris Spangle, and I am the host of We Are Libertarians, which you can find in iTunes, Google Play, or at wearelibertarians.com. We are a podcast that brings you all of the irreverence that modern politics deserves by examining current events from a libertarian perspective. So please, check us out at wearelibertarians.com.
Thank you for listening to the show this week. As always, I need to thank my favorite hotel manager, Jessica, for her help with the show. For the show notes to this episode, where I put links and other information that's been on this show, go to thelavaflow.com/93. I don't have any new supporters this week, but longtime supporter Jason C. increased his Patreon pledge from $1 to $2 per episode. Jason, thank you so much, my friend. You rock. Thanks to Jason and all of my awesome supporters, I'm at $257 per episode, or 51.4% of the way towards my next goal of $500. Thanks for all your support, guys. And remember, when I hit this next goal, I'm going to be upping the content I bring to you guys from half an hour per week to a full hour. I know you want more content from me, and I want to give it to you. So add your pledge today to help me bring you twice the lava flow that you're getting today. Exercise your free market muscles by going to thelavaflow.com/support and giving a per episode donation of as little as $1 an episode using Federal Reserve notes through Patreon or Bitcoin through Coinbase. I want to be able to bring you more content soon, so please make sure to add your donation today to help make that happen. I also don't have any new Apple Podcast reviews this week, but if you've got a minute and you want to hear your review read right here on the show, please go to thelavaflow.com/Apple and leave me a rating and a review. All the cool kids are doing it. Thank you to everyone who's left me a rating and review so far. You guys are the best. To all of you who haven't, can you guys help me out and go leave a review for me? Go to thelavaflow.com/Apple to do that now. Until next time, keep striking the root.
Thank you for listening to The Lava Flow at thelavaflow.com. Don't miss an episode. Subscribe now at thelavaflow.com/subscribe. This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.